'Tis the season for another Spilling the Sweet Tea Christmas recipe, and today we're making cranberry meatballs. Let's go. To make these homemade meatballs, you need 1 pound of ground beef. I think I'm using 80-20. Yep, I am. I'm using 80-20. Now add your ground beef to a large bowl. You can make these meatballs with turkey or pork or lamb or whatever you want. I just like ground beef. Once you add your ground beef to your bowl, you just want to season up your meat. The seasonings that I'm using is just a little bit of garlic powder, and I just season until the ancestors tell me to stop. This is probably about 1 tablespoon. I also am going to add in some kosher salt. About 1 to 2 teaspoons of kosher salt is what I added in here. You're also going to need some freshly cracked pepper. If you don't have freshly cracked pepper, just use ground black pepper. No big deal. About 1 teaspoon or so of ground pepper. The next thing I added was Kimmy Creations Yes That Much seasoning. If you follow Kimmy, you can get it from her website. This is a garlic and herb seasoning. I absolutely love using it, especially with ground beef. The next thing you're going to do is add in about 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I love using a little W sauce because it deepens the flavor in the meatballs. If you want a little twang in your meatballs, you can also add about 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. The next thing you're going to need is about 1/3 cup of Italian breadcrumbs. Now, baby, I could have edited this out, but I want you to see the look on my face because I'm trying to figure out whether or not there are bugs in this damn breadcrumbs. You know how there's like these little bugs that you can get sometimes in your flour or your cornmeal? So I'm literally trying to see, is that seasoning or is it bugs? But it was just seasoning, so we good. Go ahead and add in your 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs. Look at my face. Baby, this is YouTube. You're going to get the real over here, okay? The next thing you want to add in is 1 lightly beaten egg into your meat mixture. Y'all know I always clean my eggs, so I did that off camera, but I'm just going to beat up my egg and then add it into my meat mixture. Now, baby, you can avoid the first 2 minutes of this video and go ahead and go to the grocery store and get a bag of frozen meatballs. People do it all the time. I personally like homemade food, so I'm going to make my meatballs myself. Baby, that's the Shirley May way. My mama always used to tell me, when you cook at home, you know what you eating. So all you see me doing here is just mixing up all of my ingredients into my ground beef. You don't want to over mix it, but you want to make sure you get everything incorporated. I love a good meatball. I think they make perfect appetizers, especially for a holiday party. This recipe is more of a festive twist to the baby shower meatballs that are typically served. They're still going to be sweet and tangy like those baby shower meatballs because the sauce is made with barbecue sauce and brown sugar, but it's going to balance out with the tartness of the cranberry sauce. Once you have your meat mixed up, you just want to grab a baking sheet. This is the one I have. Isn't she gorgeous? I will link this baking sheet in the description of this video. They sell them on the TikTok shop as well as Amazon. I think the pink is only available on TikTok shop. I'm using this oil dispenser that I also got from Amazon to oil my pan. These baking sheets are honestly great. I really don't need to oil these. These baking trays have a diamond texture on top, so nothing honestly sticks to these. But adding the oil is going to help these meatballs brown. Baking them in the oven like this is mess free. You can cook them all at the same time by just adding them to multiple baking trays, and it's much easier in my opinion. Now I'm just going to oil my mini ice cream scoop and get to making my meatballs. I'm using this mini ice cream scoop because I want my meatballs to be about the same size. You don't want them to be too big because they'll take more time to cook, and you want them to be bite-sized for your holiday party. They should be about this big. Now, one thing about me, I'm gonna have fun in the kitchen. When I tell you I was having a whole party while I was rolling these meatballs in my kitchen, honestly, the kitchen is my happy place. I love to cook and share recipes with you guys. My daughter was looking at me and was like, Mom, can you please stop dancing? Girl, how are you embarrassed of me? And it's just me, you, and your daddy in this house. Y'all, I just like to have a good time. I enjoy cooking. I love sharing, and I love being creative. One thing I'ma always do is find joy in everything that I do. Life is too damn short to be unhappy. 2024 has been a tough year for me. I have gone through so very much. Maybe I don't talk about it on social media, but I'm just so glad that God got me through, especially the first half of 2024. I'm on the other side, and I'm looking forward to 2025. Ooh, baby, that rhymes. I need to write that down. You see how my meatballs are about the same size, and they're nice and small. The size I'm showing you guys is the baby shower edition. These are the size meatballs you get, baby, at the baby shower that be in the crock pot. You hear me? This is also an appetizer that you can make ahead. You can make the meatballs ahead of time, bake them, freeze them, and then make the sauce later on. Baby, I am a no-hassle host. I do not like a lot of frenzy around hosting a party. So if I can make something ahead of time and it be just as good, I'm going to do it. I needed to break out a second baking tray, and I'm spraying my baking tray so I can add more meatballs. so I can bake them. I don't know why, but I seem to like to bake my meatballs instead of frying them. I feel like they're healthier that way and they stay more moist, but do whatever works for you. Now the sauce is really simple. You just need 1 can of cranberry sauce. You can do whole berry or the regular. I just used whole berry. And you're gonna need half a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's honey barbecue sauce. Now baby, if you use any other barbecue sauce than Sweet Baby Ray's, I can't guarantee you it's gonna come out just like mine did. This is probably a cup and a half of barbecue sauce. Now you're gonna need about 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. You can use dark or light, it really doesn't matter. The sweetness of the barbecue sauce and the brown sugar balances out really well with the cranberry sauce, especially if you use the whole berry sauce like I did. Once you add in your brown sugar, you just want to add in about a tablespoon of lemon juice. Another thing to cut the sweetness of the sauce, give everything a good mix, and you want to cook this on the stove until all the sugars and the cranberry sauce breaks down. I would say about 20 to 30 minutes. While your sauce is cooking down, you also need to cook your meatballs. These meatballs do not take very long to cook because they're so small. They should only take about 10 to 15 minutes to cook. Look at that golden brown crust that's on these meatballs. This is exactly what your sauce should look like once it's ready. Notice how a lot of those cranberries broke right on down. You can throw these in a crock pot and keep them warm, but I'm just going to serve mine in this baking dish, my Lennox baking dish. I absolutely love it. Baby, y'all know I grew up in the eastern part of North Carolina, and up until COVID, Lennox China was being manufactured in my small hometown. And they have like this cute little store not far from the plant, so you could go in there and shop the Lennox China. I remember going in the store one time with my Aunt Millie and getting this holiday baking dish. You can get Lennox stuff on Amazon, but I love shopping in that little store and supporting my small community. Once you have your meatballs in your dish, you just want to add in your barbecue sauce, pour them all over your meatballs. You want these meatballs to get lost in the sauce. If you want to, you can put some foil on top of these and bake them for a little bit just so the sauce really gets incorporated, but it's not necessary. But it's a great option if you want to keep them warm. Just throw some foil on them and just have your oven set the lowest temperature possible just to keep them warm, or you can just put them in a crock pot like I said earlier. Baby, look at this sauce. You can still see that some of the cranberries are kind of whole in the sauce. I like seeing the whole berries. If you don't want to see the whole berries, just use the regular cranberry sauce. But for the most part, the whole berries break down when you cook up the sauce. And baby, that's it. That's all. You have made cranberry meatballs. As I said earlier, these make a perfect holiday appetizer. You can just put out some toothpicks and people can go to town eating these meatballs. I'm having a blast with this holiday series and sharing with you guys some of the appetizers that I would serve at my own Christmas party. I like quick and easy and delicious foods, and these cranberry meatballs do not miss the mark. Baby, get you a little saucer, put 2-3 meatballs on your plate, and move on to the next appetizer, okay? I honestly think what makes these so good is that my meatballs are homemade. They just have a better texture. Sometimes frozen meatballs have just a weird texture to me. When I tell you these cranberry meatballs were a 10 out of 10, sweet, tangy, tart, and delicious. And of course, spilling the sweet tea, approved.